when the husband decides that decision making is his, there is going to be violence. When the woman decides that decision making is hers, there is going to be violence.
A woman is a mother of a nation, but today the task to empower women requires a will to dare. In Uganda today, women and girls are ranked among the most vulnerable categories. To make women and girls participate in national development means developing self-reliance through training and mentoring. Dr. Hilda Tadria Kabushenga, a Ugandan feminist, had this vision to set standard for Ugandan young women.
Being a feminist simply means that I recognize that there is inequality in the society and that it is my duty to work on eliminating inequality. And for me, when you tell a sister she must wash clothes for her brother because she's going to get married and wash clothes for her husband, for me, that's a structural, normative rule for inequality. That's why I started MEMPROW.
She targeted a transformed, violence-free society of young women and girls to achieve their aspirations.
That empowers girls to be able to say, violence is not a normal, and therefore I will not take it. We trained girls to say to parents, I am valuable as a girl, not just because of the cows I will bring to you, but as a human being, I have rights. And so we started MEMPROW to work on self-esteem.
A lesson she has learned is that a woman is a mother of a nation to be nurtured early without violence. The initiative starts at home, school, and within the community. Dr. Hilda Tadria learned from her mother, Mrs. Kabushenga, just within their family.
The person I learned to understand that you can fight back, I learned it from my mother.
Dr. Hilda Kabushenga Tadria was born to Mr. and Mrs. Kabushenga in Kabale district, and the family later relocated to Kanungu district. She completed her school cycle in order to understand the value of education of a girl child.
Most people usually assume that you do this work because you suffered as a girl, you suffered as a woman. I do this because I had a great life, and I work from the conviction that it is possible to create a society that can make it great for every girl, every woman.
When she started work, she worked passionately to empower women. In 2008, Dr. Hilda Tadria Kabushenga and husband found mentoring and empowerment program for young women, MEMPROW. This was a platform for strengthening the capacity of young women and girls to live a fruitful life. Dr. Tadria has an education that has established women of substance. She traces, nurtures, trains, and empowers young girls and women.
Went to Gayanza High School, Makerere University, Cambridge University in the UK, and the University of Minnesota. And I'm mentioning those not because of the titles, but to show how education has privileged me. And for me, it's because of the education I received, both from my parents, but also the formal education that has created who I am.
One of the lessons Dr. Tadria has learnt from this initiative is violence, a factor that keeps the girl child out of school.
We sit with the girls and we learn what is valuable to them and how then can we help them to actually work for them to achieve better what is valuable to them.
In this, she started Women Empowerment Campaign in West Nile, where parents can appreciate the role of MEMPROW.
I've learned that change can happen. We work in very conservative communities. We selected the West Nile region because actually there are very few NGOs working there. Very conservative mindsets. But we've seen men and women above 60 changing the way they treat the girls and women in their homes.
But first, let us return home, the foundation of success. Dr. Tadria referred to her late husband, Tadria, who never feared an empowered woman.
He valued people. And because of that, I learned to value people even more. I learned not to be afraid to talk about the abilities of men to do things that women do, the abilities of women to do what men can do.
Girls and women empowerment is a question she keeps answering.
When we work with girls, it is not spoil them. When they hear you are a feminist, they think you are spoiling girls. But when we work with girls, it's create, and I will use the word product, to create a product that Uganda can be proud of. Today when I go to institutions and I find a MEMPROW girl, the employer comes to me and says, the MEMPROW girl is a different type of employee.
The campaign to empower women has succeeded.
We started MEMPROW with $6,000, but we are able from year to year, because of the track record, because of the reputation of saying, when I promise, I deliver. MEMPROW as an organization is producing a product that the country can be proud of. A product that knows what is wrong and right. And I think for me it's important because our society has lost track of what is right and wrong.
Dr. Hilda Tadria has a unique story to tell.
When I start something, I don't start it for me. I start it for community. I don't want it to have my identity, because anything you start that has your identity will die. Most times founder members kill their own organization by their inability to exit. That there is no success without succession. I know that my team understands what stewardship is. Nothing can survive young women if you don't mentor young women to carry it. And because of that, because I have invested in the next generation, that's why I can be confident to say I can hand over.
Since its inception, MEMPROW has mentored and empowered young women, but Dr. Hilda has retired as MEMPROW Executive Director.
I've also learned to trust, to mentor and trust the people that I mentor. I can't be the only knowledge holder. And that's one thing I've learned, that when you pass it on, it actually thrives even better than when you are holding on it.
Anne Nkutu is MEMPROW Board Chairperson, and she describes Dr. Hilda Tadria as a practically ambitious woman.
Anybody that knows Dr. Tadria, her feminist credentials, are without doubt. She does what she says. She endeavors to live the principles that the feminist movement espouses. And that I find very admiring about, or very admirable about her. But the other thing that I also find admirable about her is that she, as I said, her leadership style, she both leads from the front but also at the back. In that the organization she set out to build is about empowering young women. And she puts those young women ahead of herself.
At MEMPROW Uganda, top managers described Dr. Hilda Tadria, the founder, as an incredible, hardworking and creative person.
She is knowledgeable, she is valuable, but she has a passion for her work. And her passion, can just made us, or made me also, get into loving to work with young women.
Frederick Chigozi, one of the MEMPROW exemplary staff since its inception, looks at Dr. Hilda's energy, passion, and sense of humor.
She has taught me that in this world, like, you don't have to react on everything happening. You just sit back and watch it, study it, internalize it, and then know how you're going to counter it without panicking. My previous workspaces were not exactly flexible like MEMPROW. Me being in MEMPROW, I feel it is like home. It's like my extended home. I always leave home when I'm going home. And then I leave MEMPROW when I'm going home. So it's like either way, it is home. It is a very friendly working atmosphere.
A good number of girls and women have been reached out to in this campaign. What remains is what Dr. Hilda refers to as parental lack of appreciation for the female gender, but her passion to empower young women remains. Dr. Maggie Chigozi, a former Uganda Investment Authority CEO and former Ethics Minister, Maria Matembe, say Dr. Tadria is an icon in society.
Don't have authority. You people now you are talking, thank you, Hilda, for giving these women authority. Because now they can talk.
We congratulate Dr. Tadria, who was the brains and who is carrying out the initiative, on the success story that we see. Our girls are empowered, our girls are informed, our girls are becoming entrepreneurs, and we are very proud of that.
These girls were trained by MEMPROW.
For me, I went through a cesarean section birth. If my husband violated me after 2 weeks, he wants sex, I should be able to report you. Because it took me 6 months to feel comfortable and normalize. Just normalizing.
What I found at MEMPROW, they actually groom young girls to be independent.
So I started making jewelry in my first year, which is in 2013, and now I'm making liquid soap.
Yes, because at MEMPROW,
We are family!
Dr. Hilda is a renowned feminist, mother, educationalist, and researcher. After a long service, rest follows. Dr. Hilda Tadria has a word to MEMPROW staff.
I want my team to walk with their shoes, but forever looking at, am I doing right?
We have to work together as a team. We have to agree on our direction as a team, the direction we want to take. But what we are sure of is that the vision of MEMPROW will stay. We will work towards that, and we bring in new strategies to improve the world in which we are.
Woman of Africa.